sa Pangulo is specifically designed for public participation, where citizens can look up all flood control projects in their barangay, check their statuses, and report anomalies or suspected corruption directly online. Reports go straight to Malacanang, with the president himself pledging to read each submission, making the feedback loop both direct and highly visible. So what do the netizens feel about the platform? We collated a couple of them, and the reactions are mixed. Some welcome this development, commending the direct channel to the president, while others are not satisfied just yet, saying there should be a follow-through. There are also those who called for immediate response to complaints. With us now for more is Assistant Professor at the School of Economics at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, Shelo Magno. She is also co-chair of the Global Steering Committee of the Open Government Partnership. Good to see you, Shelo. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Kathy. Good morning, and good morning to all your listeners.
All right. So what do you make of the Sumbong sa Pangulo platform coming 2 weeks after the President's State of the Nation address?
Well, it's good to have a platform with direct contact to the president, as one of the netizens said. But I think if the president is really serious in addressing these problems with respect to infrastructure, he has to look at the complete value chain. Number one, he has to look at whether these infrastructure projects that are being funded by our budget are consistent with our economic development plan and the disaster resilience program of the country. The thing is, a few weeks ago, the Department of Budget and Management responded to this issue of pork barrel by saying that we can limit the suggestions of congressmen via menu. And it doesn't really address the problem, right? Because the point is, we have to make sure that these infra projects contribute to our development and disaster resilience, prevention, etc. That's the first stage. The second stage is that I think the president has to be more transparent and has to establish a mechanism for accountability. The reality is that these corruption incidents happen because of a collusion of government and the private sector, the contractors, right? So there has to be a space for third-party independent groups to be part of the conversation and really conduct independent audit with respect to the quality of these infrastructure projects. Right now, what we have is just a platform where people can complain. It doesn't really address the root problem, the root causes of the situation. And I think it's a good start. It creates controversies, it calls attentions, but I think it really requires a follow-through with respect to policy approach from the president. And one of my suggestions is actually to create a multi-stakeholder oversight. The president mentioned it. He's going to create a team to look into this, but I think it is better if this team is institutionalized and it is composed of multi-stakeholders, meaning various representatives from different agencies, representatives from the private sector, and representatives from the civil society to serve as oversight in monitoring not just the construction of this infrastructure project, but the compliance and consistency of these projects to the development plan of the country.
Let me pick up on multi-stakeholder partnership in the way of participatory governance. Have you given it a go, tried searching up some of the projects in your area? And can this platform truly enable and encourage crowdsourced auditing that leads to participatory governance?
Yeah, actually, multi-stakeholder approach is already embedded in our law. It is encouraged, especially at the local government level. It's in the local government code. But the problem is, or the question is whether they're systematically implemented and whether there's genuine representation in those multi-stakeholder board. So the thing is, if the government or the president will create this oversight body, part of the function of the oversight body is to make sure that these different bodies at the local, regional level are functioning, doing their monitoring work, doing their oversight, and disclosing information that the public should know. So these are things that have to be institutionalized and has to be done systematically. It's very difficult if you're just going to open a portal. Definitely you will receive various complaints. But the question is, so what do you do with these complaints? You still need to gather information. You still need to investigate. And there's a more systematic way of doing it by creating an organizational structure that will serve as an oversight.
Yeah, it's not the first time that a portal's been open. If we take a look back at the previous ones, let's pull up a chart here. We've collated a couple of them and really show how this platform compares with those that have come up in previous years. Let's take a look at DIME, Project DIME for the Budget Department. Maybe a lot don't even know that it actually existed. It piloted citizen feedback for big infrastructure projects, but it faced limited scope and with feedback often filtered through bureaucracy. So the portal went offline in 2021 because of those implementation challenges you were talking about and the lack of sustained third-party monitoring. Let me give you another here. It's RPMES. It's the regional government a broader set of infrastructure projects, often designed for use by government agencies, but only limiting that to select civil society organizations. So again, limiting grassroots participation. So what could make this different this time around with Sumbong sa Pangulo, knowing what we do now with these previous platforms that didn't work out?
Yeah, and that's why I think it's very important to have a very concrete institutional approach in solving our corruption problem. Because as you said, this has been done before and nothing really happened. We had a lot of corruption controversies before, and we didn't see any politician punished in relation to these corruption activities. You know, Kathy, there are theories in institutional economics and political economy where the formula for addressing corruption is really one, reducing discretion. Number two, increasing the likelihood of getting caught. And number three, you have to factor in the different policies that you need to put in place to limit this discretion. And that's why, you know, policies like access to information, disclosure, public participation, third-party participation are very important because this is what limits the discretion between government and the private sector. Even if we have very strict laws, a very high penalty, but if no one's getting caught, then, you know, all these initiatives are useless. Kaya it's important to have very concrete approach in solving these problems. The president can push for the freedom of information law. The president can push for disclosure of beneficial ownership. That's very important because we can see, and as he said, some of these construction companies are also politicians. We don't know that because we don't have a database on who the real owners are of these companies. Beneficial ownership disclosure is standard in many European and Western countries already. In the Philippines, we don't even talk about it. So there are a lot of policies that the president can pursue, different institutional approach that are already in place but needs to be operationalized, that he can do to make sure that his action, his commitment will really result in concrete actions.
All right. Well, a lot more to look after what you say is a good start. Thank you so much for your insights, Magno of the UP School of Economics and co-chair of the Global Steering Committee of OGP.